He showed up just after sunrise, wearing a badge and acting like he owned the place. Claimed he was with law enforcement and that I was trespassing on my own land. Said the HOA had filed complaints and I needed to leave immediately. But something felt off. The badge didn't look right, and the way he avoided eye contact told me all I needed to know. This wasn't a real cop. He was just a hired puppet sent by the HOA to scare me off my lakefront ranch. What they didn't know is, I'm not alone out here. This land has been in my family for generations, and I've got more than just history on my side. I've got my brother's. Before he could reach for his radio, the rumble of engines echoed through the trees. One by one, my biker crew pulled up, calm and silent, like a wall of steel and leather. The fake cop's confidence melted fast. His hands started shaking, voice cracking as he tried to explain himself. But by then, it was too late. We weren't looking for trouble, but we weren't backing down either. And just when he thought he could talk his way out, someone stepped forward he didn't expect. The man who stepped forward was Reggie, our road captain and the calmest guy you'd ever meet, unless you crossed a line. He's been riding with me for over a decade, ever since we helped rebuild this place after a wildfire almost wiped it out. Reggie looked the fake officer dead in the eye, then slowly reached into his vest and pulled out his phone. "You mind if I call the sheriff?" he asked, real casual. That's when the guy's whole act started crumbling. He stuttered something about just doing his job, but we all knew this wasn't about the law. This was the HOA trying to muscle us off this land again. See? This ranch sits on a prime stretch of lakefront, and the new HOA president's been eyeing it since he moved in. They tried letters, fines, even court threats, but none of it stuck. So now they're sending guys like this, thinking they can scare us out. What they didn't expect was loyalty, or real loyalty, from men who don't run just because someone flashes a badge. As the fake cop looked around at the crew, all standing still and silent, he realized he wasn't in control anymore. And then, from the cabin, the door creaked open. From the cabin, my sister Lena stepped out, wiping her hands on a dish towel, eyes locked on the stranger in uniform. She wasn't dressed for Dramage's jeans, boots, and that old flannel shirt she always wore when baking, but her presence shifted the whole energy. Lena's got a way of reading people fast, and the moment she saw the guy's boots didn't match his badge, her expression changed. "That badge real?" she asked, voice calm but sharp enough to slice through steel. The man didn't answer. He just shifted, glancing at the line of bikes and the brothers standing firm beside them. Lena's been handling the paperwork for the ranch since Dad passed, so she knows every legal inch of this property. We've been in a quiet tug-of-war with the HOA for over a year now, first over fence lines, then noise complaints, then so-called unauthorized gatherings. But what they really want is the land. This lakefront is gold to developers, and our place sits right where they dream of building vacation homes. Reggie whispered that he'd seen the same fake badge used in another nearby community's same stunt. Different target. Meanwhile, inside the cabin, my Uncle Buck was watching through the window, loading something old and heavy, just in case. The air got real still, like the whole forest was holding its breath. The fake cop's eyes darted from Lena to Reggie, then to the rest of the crew, as if he was calculating his odds. He tried to step back toward his car, but two of our guys had already blocked the path without saying a word. No threats, no sudden moves. Just that quiet pressure that told him his bluff had gone way too far from inside the cabin. Buck finally stepped out, shotgun resting across his arms, not raised, just resting like a warning written in steel. The guy froze. "That's enough," Buck said, voice low and even. "You've got 10 seconds to tell us who sent you, or you're staying for coffee with the sheriff." That's when the radios crackled, our radios, not his. Jocks, one of our younger riders, had been stationed at the edge of the property with a drone, just in case. "Boss," his voice came through. Black SUV just turned off the county road. 2 men inside. No plates. Looks like backup. Reggie's jaw tightened, and Lena reached for her phone. This wasn't just a scare tactic anymore. They were making moves. Serious ones. And that's when we heard tires crunching down the gravel. Driveway. The SUV came to a slow stop just outside the main gate. Engines still running. Everyone shifted slightly, eyes fixed on the tinted windows. Reggie gave a small nod, and 2 of the guys peeled off toward the tree line to flank from both sides. No one said a word. We didn't need to. We've done this kind of dance before, just never this close to home. The fake cop, now visibly sweating, muttered something under his breath and tried to signal toward the SUV, but Buck stepped forward and shut that down with a single look. Then the passenger door opened, and out stepped someone none of us expected: Lisa Halpern, the HOA president's assistant. She wasn't dressed like she came for negotiations either. Black blazer, clipboard in hand, and a pair of heels that didn't belong anywhere near dirt. "We need to talk," she said, voice steady. But her eyes flicked nervously from the bikes to the cabin to the shotgun still tucked under Buck's arm. Behind her, a man in a suit remained in the vehicle, watching everything like he was waiting for a cue. That's when Lena stepped forward again. "You sent a fake officer to harass us, and now you're here playing it civil." Lisa didn't flinch. "This isn't about you anymore," she said. "It's about what's buried under this land." Everyone froze. For a second, it was like Lisa's words didn't even register. Buried under the land. Lena's brow furrowed. Reggie stepped closer, and even Buck lowered the shotgun a few inches. "What are you talking about?" I asked, stepping forward. Lisa glanced over her shoulder at the man still in the SUV, then back at me. "Your property was part of an old government project, decommissioned decades ago. Records were buried, just like what's underneath this ranch. That's why the HOA wants you out, not because of lakefront views. Because someone up the chain wants this land locked down again, or cleared." The fake cop finally spoke. "I didn't know any of this. They just paid me to come out here and make some noise." The pieces clicked fast. The push from the HOA, the sudden interest in this stretch of land, the quiet buyout offers that came with NDA papers. This wasn't just about property. It was about hiding something bigger. But then the real twist hit. Lena pulled out a folded paper from her jacket, one we'd almost forgotten. It was a land deed from our grandfather, passed down legally, with one strange detail: a clause that gave us full excavation rights. Lisa saw it too, and paled. That's when sirens sounded in the distance, not ours. Government-issue. The sirens grew louder, until a pair of blacked-out vehicles pulled in behind the SUV. No flashing lights, no shouting. Just men in plain suits stepping out with badges that weren't local. One of them approached quietly, nodded at Buck, then asked to see the deed Lena held. He read it carefully, then folded it back and handed it to her with a single sentence: "You're within your rights. We won't be coming back." No explanation. No threats, just a clean exit. Lisa didn't say another word. She climbed into the SUV with the man in the suit, and both vehicles turned around and rolled off like nothing happened. The fake cop was left standing alone, still shaken. Reggie gave him a quiet warning and told him to lose the badge for good. He nodded and left on foot, probably rethinking all his choices. The crew stuck around a while longer, just to be sure, before the engines roared back to life and they rolled off down the trail. Back inside, Lena placed the deed in Dad's old safe, and Buck poured us coffee like it was any other morning. The HOA wouldn't be bothering us again, and as the sun set over our lakefront ranch, the land stood quiet hours. just like it's always been.